So happy Saturday. You can already see what I'm here at my desk doing. Yes, my stencils are finally live. istencils.com. The link is below the video. You can go right over there, see all of everything that I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to show you how I work with them. So for those of you who weren't with me on Thursday for the Facebook Live, I'll introduce the stencils here. For those who were, I'm sure you've already probably gotten them because they ship them out pretty quickly, or they'll be there shortly. And then, you know, you guys are already ready to jump in and have fun with them. So what I'll do, the first half of the video, I'm going to show you what the stencils are, what the promotion code is, and how and what you get. And then if you want to stop the video, order them, then come back and see how I'm using them. At least you'll have the information about them up front and you can make that decision. And other than that, we're just gonna work. I'm gonna play with them, you know, not so much create art, but just work with the stencils, show you some of the ways that I've been working with them, what I've been discovering. And I'm sure you guys who work with stencils a lot will have lots of ideas in different ways. So I'm really anxious for those of you who are in my Facebook group, Clarity Through Color. I love when you post things over there. Please start posting how you're working with the stencils. For those of you who are following me on YouTube and don't know about my Facebook group or haven't joined it yet, Clarity, so it's Clarity, C-L-A-R-I-T-Y, through T-H-R-U, Color, C-O-L-O-R, and the link will be below as well. And that's a great place to post things that you're working on, your artwork. It's a private group, but it's a fun, you know, community where we all just hang out. Okay, so I want to show you the stencils. So the two 8x10 stencils are this design, which is my scripted zigzag, the kind of zigzag, and this one is a full sheet, and you know, like you can see the one, it's a full sheet of scripting, just continuous scripting where none of the characters repeat themselves. This is basically what it looks like printed out. So you get a really nice continuous flow of script. You can use it, sections of it, you can use the whole thing. The thing that's nice about it is that it allows for that flexibility. And you know, the way I designed them is that there are very few breaks in them. I designed them so that there are very few of those little things that form the breaks, you know, that you have to do the whole stencil together. But I wanted as few of those as possible to really give it a real sort of genuine scripted look versus the stencil look. And I really think that they print really very nicely. In the few places where there are the breaks, it looks pretty natural. So you really can't detect the stencil look on them. So I'm happy about that. So these are both the 8x10. They're designed to go over the Gelli Arts 8x10 plate perfectly. So it fits over it really beautifully so that you don't have to worry about a lot of extra printing around the sides of the image. And that was important to me too, so that, you know, when you want to lay this down as an image on top of an image, and we'll be doing that. I'm just trying to see, I have a lot of things I played with over here. You won't have that over printing, so I will show that. So these two are designed to go on that 8x10 stencil. Now I also have a set that's designed to go on our 6x6. So we have this one. So we'll be working with these. We have another one of the very small scripted, and you want to really work with a fluid acrylic, or if you're doing it on the plate. If not on the plate, I love using the credit card method to scrape color into it and release the print, which is really nice. So we have this one. Let me see, what can I put behind it that has some color? Maybe that way you can see it a little better. It's kind of hard, but you know, they're over on the website, so you'll be able to see them very, very clearly. So there's 6 of these. And they can be laid down. You can work with them differently. Here's another one. We have this zigzag again. So the zigzag comes in 3 sizes, the 8x10, the 6x6. Love this. And then a nice kind of circle, which is yummy. So those are all designed to go on the 6x6. So when you go over to the website, these will all be really clear to you, but just want to show you ahead of time so you know what you're dealing with. And then I have it even smaller yet, and this is perfect to go with the, where is it? The 3x5. Here it is, right by me. So we have it this size, and so this is nice because it can actually just become a stamp. It covers around all the sides, so you don't have to worry about the overpainting again. And literally, you know, it's cool because you can put it down and just put your paper on top of it or flip it and use it as a stamp. So we have that. We have the zigzag again. And it's nice because when you're working on your jelly prints, or maybe working in a smaller book or things like that, you may want the zigzag, but you don't really want it, the big one. So it's nice to be able to have different sizes for the different ways that you will work them. We have this one and then this one. So they all repeat. There's 6 of these and they all repeat. Oh, this is dirty, but you guys get the idea. Okay, so those are the 3x5s. So the deal is that through the 15th, because this is my launch, and so iStencils is having a big celebration to launch the stencils off. So through the 15th, you will be able to use my code ROBYN20. So that's ROBYN 20 to receive 20% off of your purchase. You can purchase as much as you want, no limit there. You get 20% off. And if you purchase more than $50 after the discount, you'll also get one of my infamous circles. Look at that. I love it. And this is so this is a freebie. So that is, you cannot purchase this on the site. This will not be available for purchase. It's just one that I put together as an extra, just, you know, incentive, and just to give you guys who jump in and, you know, have been wanting the stencils, just to give you a neat extra that is just not available any other time by going on the site and purchase it. It's only available for this sale right now. So this will come in the 6x6. So, and of course, if you don't jelly print, you do not have to do these on a jelly print. You can definitely do these like you would work any other stencil using, you know, the credit card to slide it through. You can use, you know, sponges. You can pick your color up with sponges and put them on. I mean, there's a number of ways that you can transfer the image onto just a piece of paper. So, you know, it don't feel like if I don't do the jelly plates, it's not going to work. No, you can use stencils the way they've been used traditionally before the jelly plate was even discovered. So this one will come along for the as a part of the sale and just celebrating the stencil launch. So the details are below. Once again, the it's iStencils.com. The link will be there. ROBYN20, and if you do 50 or more after the 20% discount, you will definitely get this as a part of your order. Okay, so now let's come back and we'll get started in actually working with the stencils so we can just kind of play, show you how I'm using them. Love to see how you guys will use them. So, you know, if you're if you'd like to, definitely I invite you to request to come into our private Clarity Through Color group, and then you'll be able to show me a lot of what you're already doing as well. Alrighty, so we'll be back. Okay, so we're back. Let's just jump in and keep on working here. So I'm just using copier paper right now. You can see I already had stuff on my plate. You guys know how I love my dirty plates. So I'm going to work with some of these paper artsy paints. This is called Fresco Finish. They're chalk acrylics. This is heavy cream, and this is SethAfter.com. Definitely some of his things. So I love this one. Is heavy cream. This one is opaque. Some of them are translucent, but it's really a nice paint, and I really love how much it actually is sticking to and picking up off this plate. So let's go ahead and just get this down. There's already going to be a little bit of color going on, so I'm going to make some background prints. I'm just going to pull a number of prints that we can use just to build upon. So just some simple, you know, techniques, and just kind of to play around with them, because there's a lot of stencils to sort of play around. I'll just show you some of what I'm doing. And see, I love this because by me having that on there and putting that white down, look at all that yummy old wall that we got right off the bat. Ugh, it's nothing like it. This is good. This paper artsy, because sometimes they get your paints to pull enough off of your plate is a trick. So love that. There's several colors. This yellow is really interesting too. This is butter. Now this butter is opaque as well. Some of them are opaque, some are translucent, I've noticed in the ones that I have here. This is a nice color. And let's just do that with a little bit of this terracotta, which is a translucent. So it's a little bit more, it's more translucent. So, you know, I like to mix the colors on the plate. So I'm just pulling some backgrounds right now, just to get texture off the plate and just to make some kind of background to then do our stencils on top of. Okay, let's continue. Sorry there, my camera stopped a little bit. I thought I had emptied my card and it wasn't, so might have stopped at an awkward place. So what I'm doing now is we're going to keep on pulling backgrounds. I pulled out some of Patty Tolley Parrish's stencils. You guys know her. She has a YouTube channel, Patty Tolley Parrish. I'll put it below. She's also on my design team, and she has stencils and with iStencils. In fact, she was the one who introduced me to them for my stencils. So yeah, when you go over to use the codes, you can also use them on her stencils as well. So yeah, don't feel like you just have to purchase mine, and that still will qualify your $50 to be able to get the circle that we talked about. Alrighty, let's keep going. What I just did is I'll show you, because like I said, the camera stopped, but I'll show you again. But I used bits and pieces, these stencils, because I just wanted to kind of create a background. So I'm gonna come back with the paper artsy in the heavy cream, which is such a pretty color. And let's just go ahead and pull this background up. Just doing different types of backgrounds. I think when I was pulling the last one, the camera stopped, but this is what it looked like. Really came out pretty. So. Oh, that looks good. Yes. This is bits and pieces of some of Hattie's stencils. I like how they're just very organic shapes. And this makes a nice background. So now that my camera is going, I will do that again. So what I did is I just put down, I'll just kind of get bits of the stencil and rolling it out on my my palette here. Get some more of this. I'll use some of this translucent terracotta. Oh, just get a little bit there. Roll some of it out. And I don't mind it being spotty, like some of the whitest, some of the the heavy cream that was still on here came off. I like that because it just gives it sort of a mottled type of background. So there's a piece there. And just grab another bit of the stencil. And let's kind of put this down here. And let's see, let's use a little bit of a gold. Let's use some bronze. No, I'll use the gold. So some Arteza gold. Put that down. So here again, I'm just going to roll it out on my palette. I know it's a little bit off camera frame, but... And then let's just go ahead and get that in. Okay, so we've got some gold down there. And I love this stencils also. This one is, let's see how I'm going to do this one. This one is a, I can't think right now. Why? My mind, okay, Gelli Arts. It's a Gelli Arts stencil. So this is a neat putty color. It's called Mud Splat in the Arteza and the Opaque. So let's go ahead and put some of this down. I want to pick up a little bit of the pattern here. Girl, I've got a new puppy, so if you hear a little bit of noise or something in the background, she's having her bone, but then she might want to get involved in our conversation here, so I apologize. So let's just get a really rough pattern going there. And, yeah. And then what we'll do is we'll pull that, we'll let that dry, and then I'm going to pull it with, let me see. Guess I'll probably put some more of this cream down. That makes a nice background. Okay, so we're good and dry. Let's go ahead and use the Opaque again, Paper Artsy. And, I'm going to roll this out. This is going to give us a nice background. So this is a good way to build up a lot of texture, of course, using different parts of stencils. Coming back with our over another layer on top of it like this. And so we're picking up a lot of old material off the plate, plus the new material, and that really starts building up some backgrounds pretty quickly and some, you know, some interest. So I'm just doing a few of these because I really want to spend the time showing you guys the stencils, just how they're working, some of the ways I'm working with it. But, you know, you got to get some backgrounds going. This looks yummy. Good. So that's just a combination of just using those stencils, really sort of, you know, just laying bits and pieces of them down. And see here we get this really nice background already happening. Love it. And then we'll be working on top of this as well. Let's see. I normally always clean my brayer off on the plate. And sometimes when I find that I'm kind of starting to get a buildup where I'm not getting good corners and stuff, I just take my nails and just kind of scrape off some of the dry paint. And that'll just push it back some, because I like some of that texture. I just don't want it to be too predictable on every print. So right here, we lost some. Some of these little places like that are fine. A little bit, like I like that little bit of an edge, but you know, you don't want too much of that. So when the print starts kind of doing what you don't want it to do. I got a lot of competition today. Now the planes are out doing their bit. Okay, let me just make sure I close this window, because normally when they start, it means they're going to be doing it for a minute. Okay, so let's see what color. Oh, let's go back and do some more of the Mark Rothko. So I love this green. Let's do this green. Get some of this blue. Let me get some of the, let's see, get a little bit of this. Oh, let's use some of the papaya orange. Just makes a nice combination. Okay. So when I do this Mark Rothko, for those of you who are seeing me do this for the first time, I normally start with one of my lighter colors. So though I want the blue in the middle, I'm going to kind of do it there. Then go to the next sort of darkest hue. That way when I go to work the blue with the green, it won't overpower it. And then like I'll come to this papaya. If I started with the papaya, it would have mixed in with the blue and then to the green. And you know, you don't get this nice sort of striation. So always kind of wherever you put your lightest color, start with that and go to your next color and then the one after that. And then that helps you to get sort of like a nice gradation without the colors mixing too much. And I think this is good. We've got a few backgrounds to kind of play with. See, that looks good. That's yummy. So then what I do is what I've already had mixed on the plate, I just kind of come back again, sort of overall. And then pull a lighter print. Okay. So now using the Artezas. Now the thing is with the stencils on your Gelli plate, like with any stencil, you have to determine, do you need to use a heavy body, a fluid acrylic, or just a, you know, a medium acrylic density. It just depends on the stencils and how much you're going to pick up. So don't think every plate is going to pull every stencil. It doesn't. That's been my experience. Some stencils that have larger holes in them can take more different varieties than others. Now my scripting one, as we know, we'll start with that one. So we'll do it on one of these backgrounds. We'll take this background since that was one of the first ones that we did and it's dry. So my scripting stencil, I made them so that it would look authentic, but it also means that it's going to be smaller holes between them. They're not going to be like these really large wait a minute, just looking for something here. It doesn't mean we're not going to have these very large openings in here. I'm kind of all over the place. I'm sorry, because I'm looking for stencils, trying to find stuff to show you guys. It's kind of like all of this is in motion, and I'm trying to clean up as I go so I don't come across the same things. Okay, so let's say we wanted to work with putting this down. I think I'll use this one. Okay. So now with the stencils, you can use parts of them, but let's say you want to work it on the Gelli plate. What we'll do is we're going to just go ahead and get a nice layer. So you want more than a glazing, but you don't want it to be overly thick, but you know, you need a decent amount on there because the openings in the stencils are narrow. So you want to make sure you got a nice coat, not too little, not too much. You don't want it so gloppy that it's sliding around the place. So put our stencil down and then coming back with, hold up, let me just make sure it's covered from side to side, which is the goal, so we don't get that over printing. Okay. We're going to put this down, and I find I just like to hold it in place, and using another brayer, just start brayering it, because you just want to make sure you're going over those openings. Oh my God, she's yawning. She's a puppy. She's like 9 weeks old now, and you know, she's kind of like a baby. Those of you who are dog lovers, you know what I mean. Okay, this came off good. So, see? There we have it. So a full stencil comes off beautifully. You know, just making sure that you just get a nice amount on the plate, because you'll see when I go to pull from the plate, there's enough on there for a nice ghost, which we can come back and keep on working over top of. So it's not it's just a medium. I just would suggest play with your density of your paint. Try not to get too much on there because that just makes the stencil slide around. But from a medium, you got to kind of figure out what it is for you and your stenciling. But see, then you kind of up with a nice negative as well, which is nice. And I would just, even stopping there, I would take and do some coffee spraying. You guys know how I like to spray the coffee. And then that would just make a beautiful print that you could take and tear pieces of it, using it in collage. You know, there's a lot that you can actually do with this when you finish. Now she's dropped her bone. She's trying to scrape outside to get her bone. Let me just give her a little treat so we can get through this video. You want some more of this, girly? Yum. Yum. Yeah, she likes that one. Okay, so let me just clean this off. So that's one way to work with them. Oh, let me show you. So then we have the full-size Scribble, which is right here. And this one, same thing. We can actually, let me put these things out the way. We can actually take and lay this on the plate. Let's use, I want to use colors that show up well too. So we'll use the space gray. It's got like a mica to it. Now for this one, you don't necessarily need to do the whole plate, right? Because our image is right here in the middle. So I just kind of get an amount like that. We'll flip this over. And the same thing. I just kind of rub it to stick it in place, and then using a brayer, it really helps you to get the details of this scripting. And then, you know, you can always kind of just check it to see if you've gotten all parts of it. Yeah. There we have it. Yum. Just love this. And here again, then you can kind of keep on, you know, you could come back and do patterns over it. Like this, obviously, wouldn't necessarily stop there. Let's say we could come, let's go ahead and grab this bit up. Let's grab this bit up over this. Let's see. Because we'll just get a ghost. So you can just kind of keep on building your prints. And because we didn't do the whole thing, we'll get this kind of thing. And I love that. So getting that ghost on this background is neat. So we can kind of keep on working that. So, you know, you can get it like this or like that, depending on how much you want to show, you know, how you want to layer it. So we'll put this to the side, come back to that. Now, let's move to the, let's move to the 6 by 6, because now we can get some of these images. And I'm just, basically what I'm going to do is I will, you know what I'm going to do? Let's just do these right on some of the prints we already have. Because I think what's important in this video is not just to show you a bunch of techniques, is to show you what they look like and how they can be layered. So what I'm going to do is, let's just use like using this background. Let's come with like one of my favorites, which is this Blick Celadon. We can take and lay this down, and then using a sponge, let's just go ahead and sponge some of this on. And you just kind of sponge it on. I use cosmetic squares because they're cheap. You get them at the dollar store. They go, you get a lot for your money. So now we can just kind of work with layering. So you see, you get that really beautiful subtle kind of layering. So that would be this one. And I'll do all of these on sort of on a separate sheet. But let's say if we're just kind of playing to layer that up. Let me see. Let's get, what color do I want? Seems like I have like all these choices. Let's use a little bit of the space gray again. And let's use this one. Put this one down. And let's even do some layering, because that's how I work with them. Just kind of taking and, because these stencils are designed to sort of be elements in your, you know, like sort of collaging with stencils. So in your Gelli prints or in any of your work, they're just going to layer. Oh, look at that. That's good. So I would just take, so on this particular one, let's just go ahead and layer up the different stencils so you guys can see what they look like. I'll use this space gray again here. You can see what they look like and see what, you know, what they actually look like printed versus just the raw stencil. And of course, when you're using the sponges, you can make it as thick or as thin as you want. Okay, so that's yummy. Okay, so we have this one. I'm just going to kind of stack them. So let me get some of the terracotta. Well, maybe I should put this over here because I got terracotta there. So let me just put this there. Okay, so guys, can you see? Am I off the camera there? Okay. Now this particular one is terracotta in the Paper Artsy, and it is translucent. So it's nice to go back between your opaques and your translucents so that, you know, like you don't get necessarily as much color, and that kind of builds up the subtlety. Oh, that looks so good. It builds up the subtlety of your print without, you know. And this is like, I love this, my Insu circle. So let's go ahead and put this there, and I'll grab some of this papaya. Little papaya, and here again, you know, thick or thin based on how much you're actually putting down. Okay. Oops. So I'll show you that one. And even where you get that little break, what I like to do, because a lot of my stencils, I mean, you have to have some breaks in the stencils because, you know, to hold this circle in place. But then I would just take a small brush and just dot that in and just fill that little break in, and then it's gone. So whenever any breaks appear in the stencils that you don't, you know, want, just go ahead and, you know, get rid of it. And then we have one more shape here. Let me grab this one. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of put this sort of at an angle. And let's use the opaque. Okay, just a little bit there. And I'm going to use the opaque, but I still have a little bit of orange there. And that's okay because I kind of like my stencils to sort of be multicolored. You know, like you get a little bit of all that color going on. And I like that versus it being a flat color. So I'll work with comparable, you know, if I'm working with a few sponges, I'm okay with sort of mixing them a little bit. And you get this sort of mixed thing going on in your palette, which is nice. Okay. So look at that. Ah, yum. See that? Put it up close so you can sort of see it. So that would be like all 6 of the stencils. So of course they're all designed to work together beautifully. And then the bonus one that I talked about that you'll get, let's put her down like kind of right there. After we've worked up this background, we can put a nice strong one down. Let's use the black. And basically this is how you can work with these stencils. So they're designed, I came out with my scripting line first because first of all, so many of you guys love the scripting and were requesting them. And also they work so easily with all the other stencils that you may already own, because these are just kind of giving us the elements, right? So you're getting different shapes that you can incorporate. You can use all the shape, you can use part of the shape on the stencil. And they're designed to add to your collections what you're already doing. There's a little bit of, you know, my scripting style mixed in. And so many of you guys have been developing your own style of scripting. And so it's just cool. It just all, you know, works in. So, oh, I love this stencil. Look at that. So right over top we get that. Now you see that line there? I just take the tip of the sponge and just fill it in. Done. It's gone. And now it's a full circle. So that's sort of just working with a background, and then, you know, just kind of working with the different symbols so you can see what they look like. And then these same symbols come a bit larger. So if you're working with something and you want this to be more of your main image, or, you know, they come just a little bit bigger so that, you know what, let's do this. I wonder, just had this idea. Let me just get a background. Oh, got backgrounds right here. Let's do this one. Kind of cool to see if we kind of, you could also do the stencils like a pattern. So I'm kind of working with the black and the what is it, the space gray. So let's put this one in so we can kind of make this repeat sort of overall pattern. More black in here. I like mixing the solid colors with the metallics. You get a nice finish. So we can do it like that. And then let's say we came back here. Well, let's go. Just, you know, like we can actually create these overall repeats. Let me get the heavy cream again. So it's almost like how, you know, you do a wallpaper or something. You know, you use stencils and wallpapers. You can definitely just come with different colors. Now I'm using the heavy cream. I'm still using the same sponge, so it's going to be sort of a gray. I like using sort of whites and lighter colors over darker color stencils. Oh, that's yummy. So you see how we can just take and put this in sort of repeat. So I'm just sort of putting it over some of the other that we already did. Just to kind of create interest. So you can work with the stencils like that too, just kind of working over top of your backgrounds. And then let's take this one. So let's say let's take this one. So now we want a bigger sort of focal one. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come with this little bit of this terracotta in the paper artsy because it's already sort of transparent. Just like really lightly through there. And then I'm going to get the Aztec Gold in the Arteza. You guys know how much. I'm going to put all of these links for the different paints and stuff below, so you guys can at least go look at them. Probably a lot of these you already have. Those who've been following me, I know you have these. So now I'm just going to take this, a little bit of the Aztec Gold, and just kind of do it over top of that base color, just to kind of create, so you know, we don't, so the symbol doesn't have like this flat look to it. You know, we want to kind of make it a little bit more interesting. So see how when you mix it, we've got some variation of color going on there. I love that. So here, you know, you've kind of created a composition. So they're really nice to create various compositions. And once it dries, you can actually come back with, like I could literally let this dry, and then coming back like maybe with this ladder stencil, I'm going to show you something we can do, which will be really pretty. So we're going to let that dry. Let this dry. And let me see what else I can show you while it's drying. Now working with this one, let me get a background here, color going. Let's put this one down. And so let's say you have something like this where you just want to work in, let me go back, let's just get, because I want it to show up. So let's just say, like, you don't have to use the whole stencil. Remember that. You can just use a bit of it. So let's say you just want to add a little bit of it to your work, and then you can come back and put your own stenciling or mark making over it, next to it. So that kind of makes sort of like a gray, using that paper artsy in the heavy cream with a little bit of the space gray, sort of made that sort of slate color. Just holding up so you guys can see it. So, you know, like you could just put a bit of it in your piece. You don't have to use the whole stencil. And so each line of the stencil is different. So it's a different script. So you basically have 5 different lines in one stencil. So it gives a lot of variety, or you can just use the top half. I mean, there's just like so many ways that you can work with this without, and not have everything look like it's constantly on repeat, which I don't care for in my own work. So I didn't want to design the stencil so that that was the case for you guys. And then also I wanted to come out with my first collection. I wanted to give you enough, I'm looking for this other stencil. Where is it? I wanted to give you guys enough to work with the first time around, so that, let me put this here, so I'm going to come back to that. What did I do with the stencil? Remember I called myself cleaning up? Let me look over here. I think I put it kind of far away. Oh, here it is. So like even with this one, like a subtle way of working with it would be, so we have that there. Let's say you have like a really beautiful complex background or something. Then let's use the paper artsy again with a little bit of the one that I had the gold on. And then literally just, you know, like with these really big images, use a more subtle color so that it blends in with your background. But you know, everything for me is layering and texture. Layer and texture. Layer and texture. So we want to just layer things. So don't feel like, you know, like this piece is large and, you know, like it doesn't have to dominate your art. You just kind of do it in a more subtle color like that, you know? And so it's like, it's just laying there beneath the surface, and then you can come back over it with other stencils, with your own scripting, or whatever, you know, your own mark making. So I like to push colors back and forth, you know, when I'm working with them, so they don't all look like it's at the same level and the same kind of color intensity. And so here, those just work beautifully, and you just make yourself a nice background. And then these are good because you can use them as a full piece and then come back and collage on top of them. We can definitely use my fragments technique, you know, where we take tissue paper and actually take and put the stencils on the tissue paper, and then when it dries, you tear the tissue paper out and you can layer them on top of your background. We've done some of those techniques before. So, yeah, there's a lot that can be done. I'll have a session where I just do some collaging. So let's, you know, we'll make some stuff and just collage with it. So let me show you what I would do on top of this one with this ladder stencil. Okay, so let's use the mud splat and the opaque. I love these names. So we're going to put this down, and I'm going to cover the full plate. I'm going to put a decent amount down because I want stuff to stay laying there too. You'll see how we do this. So let's go ahead, oops, and put this down. I know it's a lot on the plate. It's going to, this technique, I like to make sure that it's enough on there underneath when I go to put the stencil down. So let's get this stencil down. Okay, so now using a waste sheet first, let me just go ahead and we're just going to pick up a print. The whole idea is to pick up a print and then of course leave a ghost, which is going to be what's underneath the stencil. Pick that up. So I had quite a bit down there, so let me do it again because I still have some stuff in the middle I want to get rid of. So you really want it to be clean. So you might have to do this 2 times in order that what's underneath the stencil will still be wet. That's the idea. Might take playing with it a few times, but so let's see. Okay. Okay. So that's okay, so that looks good. Now we're going to remove it. And let's come back with this, lay it down. And then this is how you can just push a lot of the symbols and just push stuff back to the background. See? So now we've kind of created this image where we've pushed them back so they're not like right there prominent. So you can take a stencil that has a loose networking like this, push it back, and then using this one again, come back. Let's grab like a white. I'll use the Dolly Rolney white. You know, this is the one I get from Walmart. It's not heavily pigmented, so it still will give us a little bit of a translucent look. So this will kind of, so you could layer like this forever. You could literally just keep on, you know, pushing things forward. Just grabbing a little bit of the paper artsy just to kind of mix in with that white. Because I don't really care for everything to look solid. I want a little bit of dimension going on there. And then see how, in doing that, now we've put this back on. And you see how we're just layering back and forth. You literally can just work like that, just layering your prints back and forth until you've kind of come up with something that you like. And even when, for me, even when I do something and I'm like not that crazy about it or whatever, let's say, you still have all these different pieces you can grab and collage with. So, you know, it's never really a fail, is it? But I love that. I love how we're getting this layering and this sort of dimensionality going on. So think about some of these stencils in the negative form versus like, okay, this would be the print we would get with it, you know. But I love this part of it as well a lot. I love getting that part of the stencil when you can. So let's see, as I know we're coming up on an hour now, but I just wanted to show you enough of it so that, you know, you can decide if you want to get them or not, and you can decide, okay, you can see what they all look like and get an idea of how I'm working with them, because it's nothing worse than getting something. I mean, I know myself. Oh, you know, I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna show you. It's nothing worse than getting something that someone designed and then you're not quite sure how they used it. And I'm big on that. I like to ask when I'm using other people's products, and what have you. I'm always asking them if I know them or if I can ask them. You know, like, okay, so what made you design this? What was your idea with this? What do you? I'm looking around for stuff. How did you see using it? I find that valuable, you know, because it helps me understand what they were doing or how they intended it to be used. So I'm just kind of pulling back some of the stuff that we did already while we're waiting for that to dry. Actually, we did quite a bit in this little short period of time. Isn't that funny? Never seems like we do as much as we do until you start pulling all your prints. Are you guys like that? This is one we didn't do together, but I just wanted to show you. So this is using, this is just a ghost that I pulled, just cleaning my plate. And then I came back with the stencil and then this one. Oh, let me show you. There's one other way that I've been working with the stencils as well. See. Let me find one of these to work with. Oh, I can do it on this one right here. So using the larger one, let's see which, maybe I'll go with this one. You can lay it down, and as opposed to using the sponge, you can use a credit card. And when you do that, it's going to make, let me get some black, it's going to make a raised, it's going to make it raised, almost like a bas relief, because you're really just pushing a layer of color. So you want to make sure you use a thicker body. So this isn't like a fluid, you know, it's a thicker bodied paint, because we don't want it sliding all underneath the stencil and everything like that, because we're actually putting more of it down. So you just kind of want to start off by just pushing it. And basically it's kind of like icing a cake. Just kind of push it down into those grooves. And when all the grooves are filled, carefully just kind of peel it back. And a little bit of it smushed under, but then you get this sort of, turn it like this, like that. So then you get this really neat overprinting that's going to stay pretty much raised. So we're all the, when it, you can't tell now, but when it dries, a lot of those areas are going to be raised. And then you kind of get this sort of thing to it as well, which is a little bit more abstract, and what have you, over when we, let me just do this here, over, put that down, overtaking the sometimes I just clean it right off, clean my stencil right off onto another sheet. And let's say you don't really want it to be a full print. Literally the paint that's on there can just be enough to get, you can get a little bit like that. Didn't mean to move it so much. Okay, there we are. Excuse me. Or you can just go right in and fill it up. Sometimes I've just put a little bit of water on my sponge just to get a real kind of inky look. And you don't have to do the whole line. You know, you can skip parts of it. Let's say if I just skip that part right there in the middle, so that we kind of get this thing with it, you know. So, you know, you can use bits and pieces of it, you know, not necessarily trying to get a full good print every time. You know, we don't really want that, because you want it to be, just kind of have an old world look to it, interesting backgrounds. So it's really just, I would just say, just play with them. Work with the different kind of paints that you like. This is one I did earlier where I worked with the bronze and the Celadon, and it just really did a really pretty print where you can just kind of, it almost looks like a copper patina. So I think that kind of gives you guys a lot of ideas to begin to work and play with. And of course, I'll still be working with them and showing you all different videos and different things as we work in our projects. So we'll be back to our Advent journal next Saturday. Since I was doing this release and it was a special sale that was only going to be on now, I decided let's just do this video here so you guys can see the stencils. I know you've been waiting for them, and you can see how I'm working with them. Next week we'll be back to do our Advent journal cover and finish that book up, because that'll be, you know, there's only one more step really to do that, and put the holes in it, put the binder rings on, and we've got ourselves a book. So I hope that gave you guys a lot of ideas to kind of get started with. You can always reach out to me at info@robinmcclendon.com. My email is always below. So whenever you're trying to reach me, and I know sometimes you guys have ordered things or you're waiting for things, and you know, I have like so many different ways people will try to reach me, and then if I don't see it, it's not that I'm ignoring you or like don't want to help you out. Of course I do. Said I didn't see the email, because it may come through through my website, and then that comes to me a certain kind of way. So look, info@robinmcclendon. Whenever you need to reach me about anything, please reach out to me there. I have an assistant. She answers emails all day long, literally. Every few hours she's on there answering emails, so it doesn't really go very long before you'll get a response from me. So if you love the video, please thumb it up. If you're new to my channel, please, you know, subscribe and hit that bell, because you're not going to get any notifications. And those of you who have been used to getting the notifications, you know, a couple of months back, I think I mentioned, I'm just going to mention it again, YouTube stopped sending out emails to let you know that the videos are live. So I come on at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So there's been a time change for me. So the last couple mornings, weekends, it's been 7 a.m. my time, but it's actually Mountain. So Arizona doesn't change. But anyhow, Saturday mornings to 7 a.m. Pacific time. The videos are there, so you might just want to check in, because I know sometimes people are saying, oh, I didn't know that you had done videos. I missed them. You're not going to get the notifications any longer. But if you hit the bell, you will get them on your devices. Alrighty, that's everything. So all the products, all the listings, everything are below. Love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed me showing you how I'm working with the stencils, and also finally got them out as well. All right, guys, love you so much. Take care, and I will see you next week to finish up our Advent journal. Bye-bye.